Hello my loves, welcome back to another video. I hope you're doing really well. Today I thought we could just have a girl chat Q&A. I've asked some questions on my Instagram and I just thought we could do a drive-through as well. So I've driven to Costa drive-through. I haven't been here in forever, so lots to catch up on, lots to talk about. Haven't had a proper look through the questions yet, so God knows what is going to come up. But I love these videos because it's just chilled. It feels like I've got you on FaceTime and we can grab a drink. It is nearly 5 o'clock, so unless I don't want to sleep tonight, definitely not getting a coffee. Ooh, I would love something like an iced matcha. That would be nice. They've got a new bubble frappe range. Blueberry bubble, tropical mango bubble, raspberry bubble, but that just looks like milk with sugar. They don't look that. Hi, I was just wondering, do you do iced matchas, please?
Oh no, I'm afraid we don't do matcha.
No, oh no problem. In that case, please could I get just a decaf Americano, please, with a little bit of milk in, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem. Is that a medium?
Yes, please, yeah.
Yeah, anything else?
That's everything, thank you. Not masses to choose from actually. I feel like I've been a bit basic there, but it is what it is. Thank you so much. I feel like as I'm getting older, I'm noticing I'm way more sensitive to caffeine than I was when I was younger. Like I feel like I used to always have a coffee at 5 o'clock and be able to sleep at like 10, whereas now I just end up wide awake and so anxious. Got a bit of a basic order then, to be honest, but I didn't really fancy it. Like the other ones were they just looked like milk with blueberry sugar. It's scorching hot. Okay, let's get these questions up. Grab yourself a tea, a coffee, whatever you fancy, and let's get into it. We've got the questions up from Instagram. Oh, first one. What happened when you got robbed in London, if you don't mind me asking? This was over a year ago. I'm surprised you remembered this, but probably because I didn't fully explain what actually happened, because at the time I was so paranoid, and sometimes obviously I'd share things with you guys, but I'm worried there might be other people that watch my videos. But basically, it was the day Mason and I got back from Dubai and we had like packed up our whole apartment. We'd been in London less than half an hour, and it was really bizarre because like the week before and probably like the previous 6 months before that, we kept hearing how crime had increased in the UK and especially London and like main cities with the cost of living crisis and everything like that. And basically some of our friends had said, oh yeah, like be careful when you go back. And I remember saying, I was like, oh, it's really funny because I've never felt unsafe in the UK really. Like I lived in London, went to uni there, and I was obviously careful, but I never felt like, oh no, I probably did actually. I remember taking my jewellery off a few times after, if I was like walking home late at night. Yeah, probably did feel unsafe at times in London, like depending on where I was walking, but I just was more aware, probably a little bit naive as well. And then yeah, half an hour into getting our suitcases, we had got the tube. I can't remember why or even where we were going, but we both had 2 suitcases each. We was about to get on the tube. I think we're both a bit sleepy, as in we'd been on like a night flight as well, so it was tired. And I had an open tote bag, and basically I remember seeing a guy like with a balaclava, and he must have come up behind me, but I didn't see him. And because we were rushing to get on the actual tube, and one of our suitcases got stuck in the tube door, like obviously they're so quick, and Mason was like trying to get the suitcase in, and we were both like stressing and panicking, thinking that the suitcase was going to basically go on this tube without us. And in that time, a man has come behind me and like put his hand in my bag, grabbed my phone. My phone was actually unlocked, and oh, it was so really stressful. Then like got off at the next station, I think it was Oxford Circus. As we got off, picture this, the tannoy, someone came on and said, oh, the station's been evacuated. I think there'd been like a fire. There wasn't actually fire, but they thought there was some fire, so everyone got evacuated. Everyone was rushing. It was like a nightmare. And then as we'd got to the top, I got my laptop out, got my emails up, and could see that whoever had my phone was like trying to get into just everything, and I was so worried. I had all like my bank details, and I didn't know that on Apple Tap like you can literally just take out as much money you want, so I was worrying about like my savings account, and just so much was going through my head. So that was what happened, and now I feel comfortable sharing that now like a year on, but just at the time I was super paranoid. It really shook me up, to be honest, and I'm so much more careful, and I don't go around with my phone out, or like I'm just more careful with things. I have 2-factor authentication and everything like that you could imagine. Next question is tips on finding your style and clothes that suit your figure. I love this question because I feel like I've been on a bit of a journey, like especially this past 6 months. So I've really noticed where you shop can really dictate actually how things fit. Your body might have changed. Well, all our bodies change all the time, and especially if you're lifting weights, please don't get caught up. Like if you're noticing that your clothing sizes are going up and you feel, say, you're leaner but you have more muscle, like just remember like a lot of these measurements that are so generic and don't really take into consideration like we're all different actual shapes, we all have different hip widths and waists. I used to be a size 8 and now I'm a size 10, but then in Zara you might be a size 8, so just having that in mind, so having the awareness around like not getting caught up on clothes sizes and yeah, getting clothes that actually fit. So I really struggle with shorts and jeans, so what I like to do is I'll get like a size up and then I'll take it to a tailorer that I go to, and it literally costs a few, it's not expensive, it's like a few pounds some places more, but get things like taken in to fit me better. That's one solution. And then also finding shops that actually you feel like you like their sizing or you like where they snatch you in really does make all a difference. Rather than buying loads and loads of fast fashion, trying to be a little bit more mindful. So like buying pieces, they might be a little bit more expensive, but you can either like style them differently over time and they actually fit a lot better because the quality's better. Another way on finding your style, this is something I feel like I change all the time. Like I don't feel like I have one style, and I don't think you should try and like fit to one style mold, because sometimes I like to be super feminine, I like to wear dresses, floaty, all of this. Sometimes I like to wear joggers and more like oversized masculine looks. It's really helped getting to know like what shapes suit my body shape. I don't have like super wide hips, so I bear that in mind when I'm buying clothes. Still feel like I'm navigating this though. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Oh, someone has said, can you please film a video of 1 week in your plate plus your workout split? Yes, that's a really good one to film. How does it work with the 1 week in your plate videos? As in, do I film every single meal? Because that'd be so long, as in like, it would be a really long video if I filmed 7 days worth, or is it one meal of each day? Let me know how that works and I can definitely film that. How come you didn't wear your hair curly? This is actually the first time today that I've blow dried it, kind of curly blow dried it, but it's still something I'm struggling with. So I'm really on a journey with my hair, and this has come from years, as in since I was probably, I think I started straightening my hair like when I was 12, 13. And I think it actually comes back down to like, I didn't really know how to manage, like I've got like wavy, very frizzy hair naturally. And I think it was when I first started wearing makeup and straightening my hair, I feel like it was the reaction people, where I felt like I looked older and more mature and more like sexy rather than cute. I was thinking about this the other day, and I really think that's where this whole straightening hair came from. And now I feel like I'm so used to seeing my hair like this, that when it is curly, I feel like my face looks like fuller and just a bit different. So I'm learning to love that part of myself, and it also saves so much time. Like if I just had my hair like natural all the time, I would, oh my gosh, the time I would save would be just incredible. And I also think my hair would be a lot obviously healthier because I'm not applying as much heat. But then I also love it like this, and I don't know what it is, I feel more put together like this, but it could just be that common, like being so used to it. But my fellow wavy and curly head girlies, like, you know that, like, I'm sure it's very familiar. Like I do feel like more, I don't know, it's just on the outside, but it's just something that I'm also working on, and I kind of like want to unpick that too. If you have any tips for embracing that as well, like I went to the concert, the Bryson Tiller concert, with my hair curly, which is like, that's a big move for me because I haven't gone out like with my natural hair in a good while. And then someone's asked, what hair product do you use for your natural hair? So I've only used 2 recently, and I keep calling them phones, but they're definitely mousses. One is a TGI curl amplifier. That is a little bit too thick though, like I feel like I could not wash that out of my hair, so I would recommend it, but at the same time it was like, it feels like cement trying to wash it out of my hair. Then the other one, I can't remember the name, it's in a pink bottle. Just remind me to link it, and or I'll pop it in the comments if you would like to know what that one is. I also think it'd be good to do a whole video on this because I'm learning a lot. I'm learning quick as well about the hair. Next question is suggestions on making a hybrid exercise routine with a very busy life, please. Okay, I've got you covered with this one because I feel like I really have mastered this, which has taken training at the same time every day, not overphasing yourself. Like if it is just impossible for you to train, say 5 days a week, break it down to 4 sessions, but make them 4 sessions solid. What is your top priority as well? Is it running? Is it lifting? And making sure you put the top priority first. So if you're wanting to really work on your running, put your running before your lift session. Also finding if you prefer training twice a day, so say if you're wanting to run and lift and you've got like a half marathon or a marathon coming up, seeing what works best for you. I prefer to just do my run and lift in the morning so it's done, I can be up early, and that works well, like if I'm training for a goal like that. Or if you're someone who prefers to split it into 2 sessions, if you've got time to do that, then go ahead. But it definitely takes being on it with your sleep as well. I'd say that's one thing, because you don't want to be finding it really hard to get out of bed if you're not getting like enough sleep. I also have something coming to Flowness Club which is going to help you with all of this, so I've got you. Keep your eyes peeled and make sure you're signed up to the wait list, and that'll be linked down below. Next one is, did you ever see the Chocolate Manor game? Oh my gosh, I know straight away who you're referring to, or I think I do. If you watch that vlog where I had the chocolate explosion, guys, I'm never gonna get over that with the smoothie maker, and it like exploded on this poor man in the middle of the street. No, I haven't seen him since. I reckon he must go like as far away as possible from my house. If I was him, I would just never walk past my house again either, to be honest. But I have really wanted to see him again just so that I could really apologise and give him some kind of like gift or just something. Then next is, how do you deal with grief and loss? How do you recover from arguments with Mason? Okay, we'll start with grief and loss. I've lost some really close people to me, like my mum, my auntie, and this was when I was younger, so I feel like both times, and my uncle as well. Like when my mum passed away, my auntie and my uncle played a really big part in my life. Like my auntie would pick me up from school, we'd go to McDonald's together, and this is my dad's sister. Like she played a huge role, and losing those two people has been like totally different. I feel like with my mum, because I was younger, I feel like I've grieved later on in life, and I still feel like I'm grieving now, and it's still true. Like I still hold a lot of emotion. Of course, like I think you're always connected to your mum in some way, and that is something that it never really gets easier, but you learn how to deal with it different. I've found like my purpose in life, which is helping you and women find their confidence, find what fuels them, find their light through exercise and nutrition. And I feel like my mum is like my source of inspiration, who like I think of a lot of the time. So I feel like that helps me cope with grief in a way, and I find it really hard to articulate. But I find having purpose in my life, like waking up every day on a mission, doing the things like that give me my most energy, and also not being super hard on myself when days like I feel like I'm at like 20% energy, and just doing what I can with the day, if that makes sense. I feel like that helps. But I think communicating and working through your emotions, like I really wish I didn't suppress as much as I have done in the past. Say if you feel some like emotion come up, not trying to push it down and ignore, because all that happens later on is like it bubbles up in other ways, it comes out in other shapes and forms. So I think it's good to process, communicate with someone. Like my DMs are always open, like I'm always here for you genuinely, and I'm only a message away as well. And how do you recover from arguments with Mason? Yeah, it can be hard. If I have an argument with anyone that I love, it's difficult, isn't it? Because sometimes I'll go away, or I'll go back to work or something, and I feel like I can feel it. So I always feel like one thing me and Mason are really good at is communicating. I think communication is so valuable in any relationship, in work, relationships, family, because your conscience is clearer. You can get things off your chest rather than like letting resentment build, because that's when you start snapping. Like it's never the washing that you're like getting so upset and irate about, it's all of the stuff that week that has built up, like putting things out like in the open rather than leaving things for like 2 weeks later. Next is, do you plan to move back to Dubai? So I really like Dubai in the winter months, but like right now in the summertime it doesn't. After doing like, I think it was 2 summers I've spent in Dubai, not full time, but I just feel like it was too hot. I like to be able to walk outside and to be able to breathe fresh air, but definitely in the winter at some point. I'm still not 100% sure, if I'm just being totally honest, and I'm just working things out as I go. I love Dubai and it feels like a second home to me, and I miss it so much, and I miss my friends there, so definitely will go back, but just looking at like all my options at the moment. Next one is, do you notice your scale weight staying the same some weeks whilst in a deficit? So yes, this has definitely happened to me before. Sometimes it just takes having a diet break that can really help. If you've been in a deficit for a really long time and you've had metabolic adaptation, that can play a big role. Or it could be that you're simply not in a calorie deficit, and it might be that you're not tracking absolutely everything. So it could be things like your coffee, if you're getting a latte and you're not inputting that, if you're tracking your macros in MyFitnessPal. Or it could be things like olive oil that you're pouring in but you're not really measuring and just kind of eyeballing. Or you've got a little bit, just, I don't want to use the word sloppy, but you've just got a little bit like I think I've got this much potatoes or rice or whatever, and things have like crept up. So I've just readdress what your intake is, if the scale has been the exact same. But if you're talking like in 1 week, we're going to fluctuate so much like this. Where women, it depends where we are on our cycle, and it is totally normal to fluctuate. I don't weigh myself often on the scale for that reason. And just another thing to add, I feel like I'm probably my heaviest, I'd say right now, but I'd say I'm my leanest in a good few years. And it's just the scale weight is sometimes not the best indication of progress, so that's something to bear in mind. Next question is, how's wedding planning, or are you just enjoying being engaged for the moment? So definitely enjoying being engaged. It was actually a year yesterday that we had our engagement party, and I would like to start wedding planning soon once my like projects that I've been working on have launched. I feel like then would be a good time. I'm definitely in a better headspace. Like I feel like last year when we actually got engaged, like our life was just, everything was everywhere and I was super stressed. So I didn't want to make wedding planning like a stress. I want it to be something I can enjoy, take my time with. Maybe that, I don't know if that exists, but that's how I imagine it. Like, of course I know it's going to be hard, but I don't want to be like uber stressed about everything. Next is, how do you have the discipline to work out every day? So I feel like working out for me is my second nature at this point. This might sound, I don't know if that is a cliche saying, but it truly is. And I want to help you make working out your second nature, because it's like part of your daily routine, like brushing your teeth, and it doesn't need to be something that's hard. I feel like habits like training at the same time each day, making sure you actually enjoy what style of training you're doing, not killing yourself in the gym for hours on end, really help make it something that you can actually maintain and just finding your flow. Again, there is something coming to Flowness Club. Next one is, do you fake tan? What do you use? So I actually don't have a drop of fake tan on right now, which I'm loving, but I've just got back, well, recently got back from Mauritius, so I had my tan from there, and I'm enjoying my bed sheets being as white as anything and not having to have constant like sheets. But I usually do tan most of the year, because to maintain like a natural tan, especially in the UK, it would be so difficult. And I use Bondi Sands Ultra Dark. It is really difficult to get off, as in I do feel like I have to scrub my entire soul to get absolutely every speck off, but I really like colour and it is long lasting. The next one is, how are you, sweetheart? Thank you so much for asking. That is truly so kind. So I'm good. If I'm totally honest, I've had like a bit of a funky week, or since I got back from Mauritius I felt a little bit funky, and I think since post marathon I felt like I haven't wanted to set like a big goal like running a flipping marathon, because I've just wanted to give myself a chance to breathe. I'm working on a really big project at the moment with the Flowness Club, so I've wanted to have enough energy for that. Like, I've been able to pour my heart and soul into that, and I've also felt like I really want to set some new goals that excite me more. So I've been a bit of like a catch-22 in terms of that, and I feel like I'm someone, I always need to have like a clear goal, as it gives me so much drive and purpose. So I feel like my headspace as well, and since getting back from Mauritius, like I was on such a high for literally 2 weeks and 4 days, like every single day I felt up here, and then I do feel like I've come back and just had to sort out a lot of stuff. So I felt like my vibration was a little bit off, if that makes sense, but I feel much more like myself, and I'm just being kind to myself, because sometimes I can get so in my own head and feel like I'm not where I want to be, or I'm not ahead enough, and then I overthink. Like, I'm a real overthinker, and I feel like I'm quite a deep thinker, so I find that hard sometimes. So I had a therapy session actually for the first time in like since back end of February, I'm gonna say, this week, which I feel like has helped. Like, whenever I feel myself drifting a little bit with my headspace, or feeling like I'm having comparison come in, and what's kind of funny for me is I feel like we all naturally can compare to other people, but I actually find I compare to like a past version of myself, which is a new kind of feeling, and like a younger version of myself, which I can compare to, and usually that is just a construct. Like, that younger version of yourself still had the bad days, but it's easy to forget those bad days at times and just think of like the highs. So I've been learning to navigate that. On a whole, I'm feeling good at the moment. I have my moments. This morning I woke up a bit funky, like I don't always feel like this, but I'm just learning like that's just part of it. But thank you for asking. What filler do you get? So I get my lips done usually like once a year. And let me tell you what happened though. So we've all done this. We've all been on TikTok, and it came up on my For You page, but basically it was a girl and she'd got a lip flip, which I was like, oh, that must be done with filler, and it looked really nice because it didn't actually make her lips like bigger, but it just made her Cupid's bow more defined, and it wasn't filler, it was actually Botox. So I'd seen it the day before, and it was when I was going on CNN. So I was like, oh, rather than getting my lips like topped up, because I just thought I want to look fresh, whatever, I thought this lip flip would be a good idea. And I've never had Botox before, so I didn't know. Obviously I know what Botox is, but I definitely should have done a lot more research, and this is your sign not to go and do everything that you see on TikTok, which I'm usually pretty good at, but this I just thought, oh, it's not that subtle. Anyway, obviously I hadn't had Botox. I had the tiniest bit put in, I think here, to like flip the lip. This was a few months back, and my obviously whole like top lip was frozen, and I could barely remove the thing. I feel like it wore off after 3 weeks, but oh gosh, I'll try and find a video that's really funny, and I cried. Like, I can laugh now, but I was so upset with myself, and it also just made me think, like, why have I gone and wanted to change something and actually just like made something worse? And I was looking back at old pictures of like my normal lip, and I was like, why have I turned into myself? So that has taught me a big lesson around fillers, because I feel like fillers and like Botox and work, it always has a cost. Like, I remember when I went overboard like with my lip filler, I then started getting these lines, so I had to get it dissolved, as in like smile lines more. Like, there's always a repercussion, and as you know, I've had a breast augmentation, and there's certain things, like I feel like I've had to work really hard to be able to do pull-ups, because obviously my chest muscle's been cut and it's gone under the muscle. So there's always a cost to things that people don't really, it's easy to highlight like all the good, but I never see that spoken about. What advice would you give someone wanting to go self-employed and follow their passion? My girl, the hardest thing you will do is just the actual getting started. So just try and break it down into small steps, like real tangible steps that you can actually complete today. Breaking this down and just knowing that the hardest thing is just going to be the actual starting, and then it's not going to be easy. I didn't make a penny for years when I've like gone self-employed, and I've worked other jobs alongside. I always think, some people say obviously like being an entrepreneur, a lot of people's views are, yeah, go all in being an entrepreneur, but I can't tell you how much experience I gained from working for employers and learning how structures work in other businesses. For example, like with my YouTube channel, it didn't make a penny for years. I was still consistent and I was still working other jobs to make this something that I could do full time. And also just getting out of your own head, like you're going to doubt yourself, you're going to have bad moments, and it's so hard. Like I don't want to be the person that just lies to you and says, oh, it's the best thing you'll ever do, which it probably most likely is, but it is so truly hard, but it's so worth it at the same time. I don't know if I'm selling this to you, but yeah, just breaking it down, getting as organized as you can and having a plan. I feel like I tried the throwing paint at a wall and just hoped that it would stick, but you need that plan in place. It doesn't need to be long, but just even if it's a week plan, it doesn't need to be a month plan, just what are you doing this week, and just building from there. Next, favorite running trainers. My alpha flies have caused me an injury. Yeah, I feel like I got an injury from using a lighter training shoe that didn't offer much foot support, that I hadn't ran in much. Probably it was similar to an alpha fly actually. So my favorite running trainers for support and cushioning is the Asics Nova Blast. They're still quite a quick and reactive trainer, and I just think they're a really good all-round trainer. I ran my marathon in that. You guys have ran your marathons, which has been really nice to see in the same trainer, and I just love the Asics. I feel like they're not quite as cool as like a Nike trainer, and they don't look quite as aesthetic, but they're going to get you through and they're going to protect your feet as well. What products and tools are you using to bring out your curls? So I'm using, I keep calling them foams, they're flipping mousses, but I'm using a mousse. I like do it on wet hair, and I'm still learning, so I feel like I'm going to give you the full video on this because I feel like I'm not giving it out justice. But yeah, just wet my hair and then I scrunch it up. Quite simple, but I think the foams really play, oh my god, the mousse plays a big difference. Bovine or marine collagen always. And best herbal teas for skin, I swear by peppermint tea. I find that it's amazing for my digestion, for my skin, and also I like making my own fresh ginger tea, so I just cut it up really finely. You have got to almost mince the ginger for it to really get its flavour in, but I always feel like that clears out my skin. Thank you for reminding me, because I've been slacking on my peppermint teas lately. Do you feel like running makes you fluffier and hold on to more water, so less lean? This is a good question. This really depends. So I find with sprints, I feel like all my water kind of goes, but if I'm doing more longer distance stuff, so anything over like 2 hours, sometimes ultra snatched or sometimes a bit more watery. It's very dependent on what I've actually eaten as well, and if like on your hydration level. So there's loads of variables that come into that, but also it depends on like your inflammation in your body as well. Sometimes if you're not used to running long distances, like you're not used to running in general, it can be such a shock, and naturally your body is, intense exercise can cause inflammation too. So I feel like it adapts over time. Next one is, how old are you? So I'm 25, my birthday's in July, I'm a Cancer, and oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to be 26 this year. That is wild. Then what is your daily skincare routine? It's so basic right now. I messaged actually one of my skin ladies. I feel like I really need to see someone and sort out my skin, because it's really not great at the minute, but it's very simple. I just use the CeraVe cleanser. I stopped using the Abaji. I feel like I've just needed a break, as in I've used the same products for like 2-3 years, and I feel like my skin just got used to it. So I thought, I'll give it a bit of a break, go back to basics, and then I literally just apply my Weleda Skin Food, some tinted SPF, and that is me. And then I do use the Abaji Pore Therapy actually as well. Okay, this question's just come in, so I'll answer it. Who are your closest friends and why do they mean so much to you? So straight away, I feel like I've got like a handful, I would say, of close friends who've been the same for years, to be honest, and are people that I can trust. I feel like they mean so much to me because I can just be more my authentic self, and they don't dysregulate. You know, certain people, you literally feel like you're on edge, and they kind of like, I don't like the word trigger, but just you don't feel calm when you're around them. And I feel like people who you spend so much time with, like, should be people who make you feel calm, who you can actually be yourself with, and vice versa, and you can be vulnerable, because I feel like relationships are built on vulnerability and being able to share. You want both people to do well and be supportive of each other. No time for like hater vibes or bad vibes, bitchiness whatsoever. Something else that is important to me is, like, I don't feel like I'm someone who has a new best friend every like few months, if that makes sense. sense. Like, I know that might work for some people, but I just think authenticity, like realness, is so important to me. And I sometimes think it's like a blessing, but also it can be difficult sometimes. Like, I've got such a, I feel like my radar is quite strong. Like, I can tell when someone's like maybe using me or doesn't have like genuine intentions or that sort of thing. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been really nice to just chat through some questions, catch up with you properly, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.